Hello and welcome back to another episode of Read the Book First. This week, Chandler joins me again via Zoom to discuss Practical Magic, the movie. Get some hot cider, some fall treats, and cozy up and listen to our new episode. Again, a reminder, please follow us on Instagram at Read the Book First Podcast. I have recently updated my schedule for the next few weeks, so if you want to know what we're reading and watching next, you gotta go follow the Instagram. Thank you for those who have rated us 5 stars and followed us and subscribed and shared. I truly appreciate it. Enjoy the podcast. Well, welcome back, Chandler.
Hi.
Thanks for coming back. Today we're going to talk about the Practical Magic movie, the 1998 movie, cult classic. Love. I said this in the last episode, but I've watched this fully before this week, once last year, and then seen clips on Tumblr, but that was it. So I had some remembrance and some very iconic things that people just always talk about online. But I watched it 2 nights ago and then I watched it this morning again, and just a good time.
I had not seen it since high school, which is 10 plus years ago, and I watched it last night, and I forced James and Cooper, my husband and my brother, to watch it with me. And the amount of shit that they gave me for this movie. Oh man, it's so good.
It's so good. And I guess I know James and Cooper, so I would assume they wouldn't love this movie.
No.
But it's better than most dumb action movies that I'm assuming they like to watch.
I was like, you guys, I have never made you watch something that you were not interested in the year we've lived together.
Yeah.
And I gave you 3 days notice that I was watching this movie tonight, and you could have found something else to do. I need you to shut up and sit down.
They had it coming.
They did. It was my turn.
Yes, as it should be. I wish I had a simmer pot on last time. That just really, I should have done that. But it's just this movie just oozes fall vibes.
Yes, it really does.
It is autumn in a movie. And it's so different from the book. But also not.
It's the exact same, but completely opposite.
Yes, it's the same but different.
Right off the bat, it's magic, we're magic. And I was
what?
Oh, okay.
Before we head all the way into it, if you've not listened to the episode before this week, following the book, please do so, because we're going to be comparing this to the book due to its differences. Especially just straight off the beginning, it begins with the same words, right? For 200 years, the Owens women have been outcast or whatever, that whole little monologue. But instead of being set in modern days, we're back in the Puritans, and we're at a witch hanging, and
the classic 2nd grade pilgrim cartoon clothes that you see.
Yeah.
But it's mean.
Yeah, and so we see Maria, the Owens ancestor, who is about to be hung for being a witch, and the voiceover is from the aunts, and as they're talking to Aunt Frances and Aunt Jazz, they're talking to the girls about why there is maybe, quote, a curse, but this is the little backstory that we get right away. And so Maria is about to be hung, but then she jumps off the platform, and it's she has magic, and the rope it breaks, and she lands, and there's a little puff of smoke, and all the Puritans are freaking out.
They flee.
But then she gets, instead of getting them trying to kill her again, they just banish her to her own island, which ends up being called Maria's Island. And that island, she's sitting there on the rocks. I'm there's no way they're trying to pass this off as East Coast. That is a West Coast rock.
It's true.
I am a Pacific bitch, and I know a West Coast barnacle when I see one.
I was thinking the same thing. Oh my gosh, it was so funny.
Yeah, and so she gets banished, and then she's pregnant apparently during this whole thing. Apparently, it's very obvious. They say it, and also her belly's big. But she is heartbroken because the baby's dad, her lover, never shows up like he says he was going to. And
Mhm.
so she like puts casts a spell so that she will never feel the agony of love again, which
Mhm.
then turns into a curse that
I
all the
mean,
Owens
if you
like
think about it, you curse yourself, you're also cursing your unborn child.
okay,
Like,
biologist. I mean,
I don't know.
yes.
Like,
And then we have the whole like actual like genetics of like if you are pregnant at a certain stage, that baby has all its eggs, and those eggs, it's like that weird
that's pretty early
epigenetics.
on. She was way past that. She was like 9 months
Exactly.
at this
So
point.
like is the curse forever or just for the next three generations, you know?
True. I guess that's true. I didn't
Just
think about
saying,
that.
we don't need to bring biology into this magic-based movie,
But
but
I'm glad we did.
it's
Uh,
there. Like there is some science behind the curse.
the other thing that I noticed was within like 2 minutes of this movie starting, we learn Francis and Jet's names,
Yes.
which in the book we didn't know till
No.
like the last
Yeah.
chunk of it. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, which makes sense. Like for a
Mm-hmm.
movie, it would be weird to have these very central characters that you
Mm-hmm.
just didn't know, but
Yeah.
definitely different. The
There's
first
a
10 minutes are like,
it's the first 10 minutes are wildly different. I still think it's weird. The curse, it's so that she won't feel any agony. She won't feel the agony of love again. Yet that curse turns into all the men Owen's women fell in love with will die.
yeah,
Like it's
I
so
was
weird.
like,
It doesn't follow to me.
I was wondering if like the her lover didn't show up because he died and she was like, okay, like I don't know.
Hmm.
It was it was like a very we just need an explanation for this right off the bat. Here it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And I can't remember. Is there a curse in the book?
Not no, they never like specifically say
No.
Owen's women's are cursed. I mean, they don't even say that
They don't.
Owen's women's are magic.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
So that is interesting. It's interesting. It's a little bit new information. Like there is some like obviously changes, but this is like not just a change, it's like added new background. But anyways, it flips like there's still a voiceover from Aunt Frances and the girls. And it goes to the future, it cuts to the future and like this obviously 70s beach
Yes, it's so
where
cute.
it's so cute where you see like this mom, dad, and like two girls who we're assuming are the little girls that are talking. And they talk
Mhm.
about, oh, is that why mommy and daddy died? And they're like, yes, and they keep going.
Well, they mom and dad died not in a fire because they were
Yeah,
so
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
love, but here the Death Watch beetle comes in here,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting.
Yeah, the
Because
mom
then they have to create a whole new plot line for why the mom died because the dad dies of the Death
that's
Watch
Lost
beetle.
Beetle. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's yeah, so the mom yeah, so the girl's mom hears the death watch beetle and knows that the dad's about to die. The dad dies. We don't know how. The mom dies due to they say due to heart a broken heart, which is interesting, but that essentially gets the audience all caught up so that we see the two little girls a la like Wednesday Addams with the black dresses, braids, holding hands, walking towards a creepy old house.
Yes,
Um,
and we get that image multiple times, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and they're walking in, and that's where they meet. We first see this is where we first see the ants, and we
Yes,
talk about the casting of the ants.
yes. Oh,
I
I love.
we
Uh,
have
it's
um
Rizzo.
it's Rizzo exactly. We have Stockard Channings as Aunt Frances, aka Rizzo. Excellent,
Woohoo.
just so excellent. And then we have Diane Weist as Aunt Jet, and I
Oh
love
yes.
Diane Weist. And I was like, this casting already, we're like, the kids aren't even adults yet, and the casting is just so good. I love it. Um,
Beautiful.
mhm. And
Uh,
so they're like, we don't, we eat chocolate cake for breakfast, and there's no bedtime.
there's
So,
no
so
bedtime. Yeah.
like it's a similar vibe of parenting styles that we talked a lot about in the first podcast, but like instead of being like because the ants don't want to change their lives, it's because no, they want to
Hmm.
bring joy and like it's like a joyous
It
like
was a
environment.
very, yeah, it was a very different interpretation of
Hmm.
pretty much exactly what the book said. Because the book is like, oh, these ants had these rigid schedules. They didn't want to change their schedules. So really, like, Sally was the responsible one that was like raising
Hmm.
Jillian, not. And then in here, it's like, okay, well, we're not gonna be strict with you,
Mm-hmm.
but we're going to be here for you and love you unconditionally, and you're going to feel that and see that. And Sally is still going to be the responsible one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very,
It's
it was
different.
interesting.
Yeah, but then they're like the girls are like loving growing up there, and like there's this big huge garden and that greenhouse of my dreams.
Oh, so cute. And they
Um,
are
mhm.
unquestioningly, they are learning magic. The
Yes.
ants are magic. They are teaching them magic. They are
Yeah.
casting spells regularly. They are
Like,
magic. We are magic. It
and
is.
the ants even say that Sally has a gift for magic, where they're like
Mhm.
giggling about like Sally, you'll find yours, which I'm like, at least like foster it equally. But that's just me being a teacher. I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh. Like don't make it too obvious that one does not have a gift, you know. But then it like one night the girls are being eavesdropping on the stairs, and there's this lady who comes in sobbing about a man, and this is like this similar, it takes place as of the whole vibe of the lady at the drugstore in the book.
She has to be the drugstore lady,
Has
even
to.
though they never follow up on her.
Yeah, which I was a little bit bummed about, but like
I
it's okay.
know.
Like there's a lot to fit into this movie, and I think the pacing is really good
I
for how
agree.
much they had to
Definitely.
fit. So like I understand why they didn't put that in there, but the ants do the whole like magic like dove heart spell, and the lady has to like say her wish while she stabs the dove in the heart, and like with this creepy big needle, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah, that was way
ooh.
more intense than I pictured.
Yeah, and immediately the girls have two different reactions. Sally says, I never want to fall in love. And Jillian says, I can't wait to fall in love. Like they see
Ugh.
this traumatic situation with this lady who's just distraught. And immediately then at ages, I don't know, they're like 10 and 9 or something like that. They
Mhm.
both are like, this is how we feel about love.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
very much shows that Sally is a very logical thinker and
Hmm.
Jillian is a very feelings person. And
Hmm.
they did a good job of showing that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they go into the next like little scene is that they go into that beautiful greenhouse. Okay, this house of my dreams.
It
I
reminds me a lot of the house in Sabrina, like the new
Yes,
Sabrina, and I love it. Like
I
the pantry greenhouse situation.
hmm
Oh, yes.
do you want to know one of the few fun facts I have about this movie?
Yes.
So, a fun fact, this house does not exist. They built the shell of it for the movie, and because they could not dig into the land that they showed, because it's Native American land that they
Okay.
shot on, so they couldn't, for legal reasons, dig into the ground. So it's just a shell of a house. That house does not actually exist in the real world, which is like kind of sad.
That's sad, but also
Like,
like good job.
yeah, like
1990s?
I mean, most sets,
Yeah.
are if they're not like on location, they're on a studio, and so this is on location, and they built this. So I thought that was interesting that they ended up choosing to build this house,
Mhm.
but I thought that was when I saw that or read that, I was like, oh, that means we can't go visit the house.
I
Oh,
know.
that's
Oh,
sad.
well,
But it's okay. But anyways, young Sally, has decided that she needs to make a love spell. So she needs to put up her defenses so she does not fall in love, so she's not like that lady crying and she does not die of
yeah.
a broken heart like her mom. So she
She is a
goes,
real thinker,
yeah,
Sally.
yeah, she's proactive. And so she's going out and she's in this greenhouse making this spell and like listing all these things that of this quote perfect man that no man could ever like meet, so
One
that
blue eye and one green eye.
I know. I just think like the list she makes is like, this girl read a lot and has not experienced the real world
Yeah,
because
can flip pancakes.
yeah, can flip pancakes, can ride a horse frontwards and backwards,
Yeah.
whistles his favorite song, can hear me coming a mile away, and the what is it called when the eyes are different color?
Heterochromia.
Heterochromia, which like, yes, it is rare. It's not that rare.
I know. I was
Like
like, okay, maybe we didn't know that in the 90s. Also,
like
she was young. So,
yeah,
like,
she for sure like read a
yeah,
book and a character had what's the word?
yeah,
Heterochromia.
heterochromia.
Heterochromia. So she probably like thought it was very rare because she like they're ostracized. Like you know the
Oh yes, the
oh yeah,
scene. But oh my gosh,
we missed that
we did.
scene. The poor girls, they're out in the play, like in the yard, and then like the neighbors come up and they're like, "Oh, do you want to play with us?" And these neighbor kids are just yelling at them, "Witch, you're a
You're a
bitch."
witch, and throwing stuff at them.
Yeah.
Also, are
Ah.
they not still living on that island? Why are there so many neighbor kids?
They are on the island.
So people came to her island that they banished her to? That's a little rude.
I mean, that's colonialism.
No, you banished me here. Get the fuck out.
That's all of America and
That's like my
Australia.
dream.
But that's all of America and Australia is that they would put all the, they like in like Europe and stuff are like, hey,
Okay, I'm just saying, if you are gonna, they already took over. This is America. They're already
yeah.
here. They took over. If they're gonna
Mhm.
banish this one person to this island because they want her to be ostracized and not part of society, why would they bring society back to her if they really cared about the whole witch thing?
I don't know. I didn't think about that too hard.
I
But like,
did because leave me alone on my cute little island.
but it definitely is her island because when later on in the movie they like show the post office, it says Maria's Island's post
Yeah, they
office.
talk about it a bunch
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
So
I was like, excuse you, go home. Which, like, okay,
yeah.
everybody probably thinks that about us too, but
Yeah. Anyways,
I
yeah.
digress. Um,
These poor kids, these poor
poor
girls
kids.
are just getting bullied by these neighbor kids. Rude.
Was there something about stars in her wish list?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh yes. His favorite shape is a star.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I think that's the list. Is his favorite shape is a star. He'll hear me come a mile away. He whistles his favorite song. He can ride a horse backwards. He can flip pancakes, and he has one green eye and one blue eye. That's not a long enough list. I mean, I know you're 10. You didn't. She
If
didn't
you
put
really
like,
want somebody to not be able to meet these things, you need it to be like a mile long.
yeah, like she didn't even put like he's funny
No, I know.
or like these are like none of these are like personality traits.
I agree.
But also, she's 10, so forgiven. And it is a cute little
And
scene.
she really only knows like four people well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
personality probably isn't like a huge thing for her. Everybody's got one she likes around her.
Yeah, it's true. But then we fade from the young Sally and Jillian to the older Sally and Jillian. And
Sandra Bullock,
Sandra
Nicole Kidman.
Bullock and Nicole Kidman are so
Oh,
hot in this movie.
oh, they look so good.
They're perfect casting. The fashion of this movie, I'm obsessed. And like partially it's because like 90s fashion is coming back in style, but like obsessed.
Also, the music in this movie,
The
like,
soundtrack, so good.
even if they didn't like explicitly say that this is a witchy magical movie, I feel like from the soundtrack and like even if you couldn't hear the words that people were saying, if you just played the visuals and then played the soundtrack, you'd be like, oh, this is like some witchy fall vibes.
Absolutely.
Great job. Immaculate.
Absolutely. Sally, it's about to run away with her first husband, I believe. And they like are trying to make them look younger here because even though they're time jumping a little bit, but it's so cute that like they have Sandra Bullock in like a braid and these big old glasses. I'm like,
Yes.
I mean, I guess it kind of makes her look a
Like
little
she might as well be wearing a retainer.
exactly. Yeah. But before they leave, they're having their goodbye and they do this like blood pact thing where I think I love that Jillian doesn't have a pocket knife, but
Yeah.
she needed one. She's like, honey, throw me this pocket knife. And her boyfriend throws the pocket knife all the way up to the ledge and like gets there in time the first try. One, pretty impressive.
Great job.
Two, and it's like Jillian is the type of girl who doesn't keep what she needs on her because she gets what she needs from the men around her, either
Right.
because they provide it for her or she makes them provide it for her, like this pocket knife thing. And I thought that was like a nice move of like her kind of personality.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. But she cuts her palm and then cuts Sally's palm and they put the palms together because my blood, your blood, our blood. And the
Our
first thing I
blood.
thought, I was like, if it's wet and not yours, don't touch it. This is how people get diseases.
All I could think of was hepatitis.
Yep, I was like that. I know you guys are sisters, but
We just had
hepatitis.
to redo our bloodborne pathogen training, and I was like, no, don't do it.
I have mine to do for my new job. I haven't done it yet, but in my head, I did think about it.
Hepatitis B.
But anyways, just a public service announcement: don't do what they're doing with their blood.
Even if you're related.
Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. But it's an important moment, and like it's
Especially if one of you is highly promiscuous and the other one is not.
huh. I know that's what I was thinking. And yep, that's what I was thinking. But like it's very witchy, so we just have to like lean into the magic away from the science of that.
True, true.
Yeah. Time passes a little bit more. And we see the ants and Sally walk through the downtown.
This scene is so good.
I
It's
love
like,
the
oh,
ants. Like Aunt Frances is like, no nonsense. I don't care that they don't love me. Like I don't care if these
no,
people hate
she's just
us.
like, meh, meh, meh.
Like I need
The
tomatoes.
horse. She's like, calm down. Stop that.
Where poor Aunt Jet is just like, hello, like trying to be like the
I know.
good,
She's
like the
like,
good.
hi, sweetie. Oh, you're adorable. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh God, you're
And they're
not helping yourself.
and I love their clothes are like definitely like 3 or 4 decades old, so it makes them like
Probably Maria's.
yeah, you're like, whose clothes are those? How old are those ants? Like, yeah, but poor Sally is just so sad about Julian being gone. So much so that like the tree, like leaves like fall off when she walks by, being sad. Like she's affecting the world because of with her magic. Like there's just so much more magic in the movie than the book. And I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah, so she's being sad and they're at the house and then it's the background of Faith Hill's This Kiss starts playing and you're like okay, tone shift. And
Definitely.
and the ants are like well, what time is it? And they're like anytime now, like talking to each other, and you're like, well, what have these little biddies been up to? Something's going on.
Well, they had been walking through town and
Mhm.
Sally does a double take at this man with
Oh
his
yeah.
like fruit barrel or something. And the
Mhm.
ants take notice and you
Mhm.
see them like start scheming together.
Mhm.
And then they get home and then it's like, oh, you're definitely scheming.
Oh yeah. And then like noon hits or something like that. And then Sally just stands up and starts leaving the house. And the ants are like, where are you
Running.
going, sweet? And then she's running. And this kiss is playing in the background. And you're just like, and then she's just running. And then we cut to the man who like suddenly stops working, goes out into the middle of the street, stands there as around the corner comes Sally running in her like garden clothes, followed by like a whole horde of dogs. Like
Yeah, all the pets.
and then she starts running, and it's this scene that's always on Tumblr everywhere. She just runs and runs, and then they have this like big like movie kiss in the middle of the street,
Oh yeah.
and it's just like it's equally so adorable and so just out of the world,
Like,
unsensible. You're like you
yeah.
didn't talk to this man,
You don't even know his name.
yeah. But like they're kissing, and then it cuts to like a voiceover, and time passes, and she's telling Jillian about how she's so in love, and it's like their third anniversary, and they have 2 kids, and like life is perfect, and we don't know how they fell in love at this point. Like we get the like hints from the ants, so we were assuming something has to do with it, like the ants, but also it could just be like it could just
It
be
was
that
time.
it was time, you know?
Yeah. Well, and the whole time I had in mind how like there was just people would just mysteriously be attracted to the sisters. So I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, okay, here's that first hint of mysterious attraction
Mm-hmm.
that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then after Sally does her little voiceover letter, we get Jillian's voiceover letter, and she's like, I'm lying by the pool. I'm lying by the sun. And she's like at some pool party and is just like living her California
Yeah.
dream.
She's like, I'm free,
I'm
I'm
free.
myself, I'm
Yeah. And then she goes, I have 2 words for you. Jimmy Angelov. And like then we get the cuts to this like this man
the scene.
who is like so like mysterious, and she's like then suddenly she's walking through this dark hallway, and the music is like really creepy, It's
And there's
like,
definitely something happening in the other room. Like you can tell something
uh-huh.
sketchy is going on out there. And like I'm like, maybe don't go out there. I
Yeah.
don't know. And she's in
Yeah.
lingerie for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Well, it's an outfit. It's not lingerie, it's an outfit.
It's lingerie.
It's the 90s.
It's lingerie.
Any
It's it's Halloween from Mean Girls.
Yes, very
It's
much, very much. Again,
minus the animal ears.
minus the animal years, but very much 90s. But she's like walking this creepy hallway, the creepy music, which is like a techno song, but like poorly done. And like in a really creepy, like also like a weird like a rock guitar. And I'm like, this is bad vibes. Bad vibes. But then she's almost at the end of the hallway, and then out of the dark, he like hugs her from behind, and it's just like,
I know he puts the blindfold on her.
oh, you're right, the
And
blindfold.
it's like, okay, you think this is sexy, I think this is fucking weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
It's
and
so
you can tell that they're
creepy.
trying to like find that balance of like,
Mm-hmm.
is this weird or is this hot? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well,
I mean, it was hot for
pretty
her,
weird.
but like,
Which is all that matters in the moment is like those they're both enjoying it, but also like you're getting some sketch vibes out of it.
it's so creepy. And then, so we like, this is our another big change is that his name is Jimmy Angelov, not Jimmy
Hmm.
Hawkins, which I just want
Right.
to say, fun fact, Jimmy Hawkins is the name of the main character in Treasure Island, which we have done an episode on. So if you want to go listen to the Treasure Island episode,
Oh,
it's our first episode. Um, so I thought that was a little bit funny.
that is
His
funny.
name was Jimmy
Call
Hawkins.
back.
Yeah, but they changed it to Jimmy Angelov. And the reason why I looked it up, I was like, why this big change?
Well, and they keep referencing the Bulgarian.
So this actor is a Croatian actor, and the director of this movie loved his work. He was in I think, a Madonna music video. I forget which. It wasn't a song that I recognized off the top of my head.
Mm.
But the director loved the actor who plays Jimmy so much that he's like, well, I want you to be this character, and we'll change it to fit this vibe. So that's
So
why
you
they
can
named.
keep your accent.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
And like honestly, I kind of like the change that it's not just like a random redneck from Texas.
Right.
It's like there's not just like that he's a cowboy that's a like dangerous cowboy. He's like, oh, this is more like a vampiric cowboy, which makes him more dangerous but also adventurous and different, which I could
Mhm.
see Jillian actually falling for someone like him more than just a random
Yeah,
cowboy. So,
I agree. It like fits the like bad boy drug dealer vibe, but it's also like this is more than just some guy that like grew up with a bad crowd in the middle of
mm-hmm,
Arizona. This guy's like been on some adventures and has
mm-hmm.
seen some things, and that's probably why Jillian is like so attracted to him.
And the last name they choose, like, I don't, obviously the last name sounds Eastern European to fit the like. I guess they could say that he's Bulgarian, but it's literally angel and love,
Hmm.
and it's like
Yeah,
you are neither.
right.
But like, it's
But Jillian thinks
fitting.
it's a sign. She thinks
Yes,
everything is a sign, as we will see later.
it's true. Everything is a sign of
A black
Jillian.
moon.
Oh yeah, then it cuts back to Sally and her husband and the girls. They're older now, and she's doing another letter, a smaller letter, like how happy she is, and like they're dancing in their house, and it's like such a
It's so
cute
cute.
scene. And the girl's definitely older by now. And but then at that night, Sally gets woken up by the Death Watch beetle, and it's the scene is so like. Does the Michael character talk at all?
Very
I
little.
don't think
Like,
he has a
not
line.
like, doesn't he say something to the girls or does he not? Maybe not.
I don't think so.
No,
So
maybe
like
not.
this, he's like barely been there. I mean, it's been years. Obviously, the time has passed.
But you can see like how in love they are and how great
Hmm.
things are and like,
They have a normal life. Like
yeah,
they're being
nobody
greeted by
whispers about them
neighbors.
anymore.
Yeah. So it's just such a heartbreak that she hears the Death Watch beetle, and he's off at work, and she's like trying to capture this beetle, like tearing up her floorboards to try to like kill this beetle so that because she knows it's gonna happen.
She's like under the subfloor. She's like digging yeah, she's tearing. Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, and then
Tearing apart her room.
the scene where Michael actually dies is like such like so many bait and switches. So first there's the black dog barking, which like black dog barking in a lot of cultures is bad luck, right? A la Sirius Black.
Yes, my culture.
And then he like goes and he's moving his apples into the middle of the road, and then everyone's like, "Watch out, Michael!" And then there's like a huge bike, like a Tour de
Tour de
France.
Mary's Island.
But like, if that was happening, there would be signs.
So many signs.
So many signs. Like
they would close that road.
Absolutely. So unrealistic. But he's like very much like Simba in the Stampede and the Lion King. He doesn't move. Yes. And all the bikes go around him and and he like at one moment when that's happening, he's like his head is up towards the sun, like sky, and he's like just like breathing, and it's like a weird moment of like weird peace he's feeling, but like the emotion in that moment are too many emotions in that moment he's feeling. Like, good job on the
back
actor.
And forth between him and Sally and him and Sally, and you're just like, ah. And Sally feels that weird peacefulness too.
Yeah.
And then the beetle stops chirping.
The beetle stops chirping, and then a car hits him, or a bus hits him.
Yeah. The beetle stops chirping. Well, then the beetle starts chirping rapidly.
Yeah.
And then the bus hits him. And that's like a 2-second clip of like, boom. Yeah, that was terrible.
Poor Michael. Poor Michael.
I know. And then Sally is like devastated, and she goes running to the aunts, and she's like, I was very surprised at how Sandra Bullock in the scene was so she was obviously like distraught and like kind of all over the place, but she's also like, nope, we're gonna do this, we're gonna, like, she's on a mission, we're gonna bring him back, I know you can do it, I saw it in your spell book, we can do this. And the aunts are just kind of like, we don't do that, like, we can't, it's not gonna be him if he comes back,
he'll come back unnatural, and it cuts randomly to like some creepy stuff.
It's like
really like a really split second. And yeah, she's distraught, and she's like, and then the aunt's like, we didn't know this would happen. Like, you didn't know. This is when she finds out that the aunts did put a love spell. Yeah. And like, we didn't, they're like, and they like,
put the love spell on him, right? And they were like, we didn't know you would truly fall in love with him.
Yeah.
And it's like, thanks, aunties.
Yeah, and so she's sitting there being like, she's like, not only is she dealing with the fact that her husband just died, but that, like, she is, like, did he actually love me? Did I actually love him? Like, you know, like, that whole, like, was it real? But also, she decides it's real, which I think is very fair.
Yeah, I mean, if the Death Watch, like, he died the same way that, well, like, the same lead up that her dad did, and she knew that her parents were so in love, so it's like, okay, obviously we loved each other, or the Death Watch beetle wouldn't have come for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and those poor aunts, but like the poor all of them, but because of this, she and the girls move back in with the aunts, and she makes it very clear to her girls, Sally's like, this is temporary, we will not be having chocolate cake for breakfast, we will always do our homework before anything.
And you are not, my kids will never learn magic.
Yeah. Will never, and she's just, you know, which, like, I think it's a fair reaction, because magic is what she believes killed her husband.
Right.
You know?
She's like, if I just cut off this part of my life, then it won't happen again, and it won't happen to my kids.
Yeah, and then she's just depressed in bed and just, like, going through it. But then, Kylie, who in the movie is older.
Right. Okay. Yes, in the movie is older. Antonia is just like this small, she's maybe 7 years old based on her teeth.
Yeah.
And and she's just kind of there to like sort of be a little bit supportive once or twice.
Yeah. But Kylie comes in, is like, it's the first day of school, mom, like trying to like talk to her mom, who's like obviously been depressed in bed for days. She's like, Antonia is wearing mouse ears and trying to like make it seem ridiculous, trying to get like something that would cause her mom to be worried.
She's like, she's running around naked.
Yeah. But I think it was super cute. Like, even though Sally's sitting there like dealing with this depression, when Kylie comes up, she does like snuggle attack Kylie and like has a sweet little moment. So like she's not as distantly depressed as she was in the books. So like she's still like, you know, trying to be a mom actively. Yeah. I thought it was very sweet. And then
I agree.
And then after Kylie leaves, Sally has the moment with her hand, and like so there's like her and Jillian are like telepathic, apparently,
They
kind
definitely
of.
have a special connection of some kind.
Yeah, so they like she like whispers like Jillian, and then Jillian hears her sister calling her all the way over wherever she is in Arizona. And she's like in this dark room with Jimmy, and it's this weird weird creepy sensual music's playing in the background. Everything's like dark and red and black, like
It feels very much like a trailer, but it's huge.
yes.
Like the
Mm-hmm.
vibes are like sketchy trailer park,
Mm-hmm.
dark,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever, but the room is really big.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Yeah.
this is interesting.
And she's like, she knows that she needs to go to see her sister. And so she's trying to go to the bathroom. And then at one point, Jimmy's like, let's go together. Like,
Yeah,
one, let me pee by myself.
I've got things to
Two,
take care of in there.
yeah. Two, this is not a good sign. This guy's a bad
Mhm.
guy. Like,
Well, and it almost feels like she's a little bit afraid of him at this point. She's
mhm,
like, oh, I know where this is going, and
yeah.
I don't want to deal with it right now.
Yeah. And so she gets to the bathroom and she puts some stuff into his tequila and brings it back to him. And then cuts to her driving and singing along to Joni Mitchell.
Mhm.
And
And
I
we don't
just,
know what happened to him.
no, we
She's just
don't.
alone now, driving
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, but I love her with like the fake sunset and the
Yeah.
crappy green screen. But like her singing Joni Mitchell, I was just like,
Oh,
oh, a girl after my own heart. I
it was
love
a
it.
good. That was a
Again,
great.
the soundtrack, killer,
Yes.
killer. But Jillian comes and surprises Sally in like the middle of the night, and like they have like such a cute like sisterly like catch up with each other about life
Yeah.
and everything, and like they haven't seen each other in years, and it's like such a sweet moment. And then at the end, Jillian's like, "Did you ever forgive Mom?" And Sally says, "Sometimes."
Yeah.
And Jillian's like, "Okay, you're not going to forgive yourself if you don't get up and brush your teeth because your teeth stink and take care of those girls." And I just
Yes.
like, it was such a good amount of like comfort, but also like a kick in her pants, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. It was exactly what she needed in that moment.
Hmm.
And what Jillian could offer. Like even book Jillian, that's probably as much as she could have offered at the time.
Yeah. Um, but like, I was thinking about it. I realized Jillian snuck into the house and probably snuck back out because I don't think the aunts saw her there that
Doesn't
time.
seem like it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that when I was watching it. Just thought about that now. But Sally does get out, which of the
And
depression.
presumably she brushes her teeth.
Hopefully. Apparently they stunk. um and she goes into her little like apothecary shop that looks very much like David Rose's shop in
Yes.
Schitt's Creek.
Yes, it does.
But I think it's cute that she has a little shop and she has these two ladies that work with her. So she has like a couple friends. Like it's
Those ladies are so funny. There's like the
uh-huh.
quirky girl with the frizzy, like crimped hair.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely like just trying to be near Sally to see if anything weird happens.
Yeah.
And then there's like the grandma lady who is also like, she's like, why are we making fun of this girl? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
they are
loved this
great
little
side
change.
characters.
Yeah, I like
Yes.
this change. And like this element is like the normalcy in Sally's life that like they add to
Mhm.
the movie. And then the Kylie and Antonia show up and by the store, and then suddenly they hear a bunch of kids yelling at the girls, witch, you're a bitch, over and over and over. And
And they
like,
go out there and there's like parents there too. Like the
mhm.
kids' parents are not far away.
Yeah, and so Sally like breaks up, like gets the girls away from the other kids, and Kylie is like trying to like curse one of the boys that was like yelling at Antonia or whatever, and she
Mhm.
goes, "I wish you had," and then points her finger, and there's like a little bit like magic music, and it's like
It's like,
chicken
chicken
pox.
box.
Yeah, and like so it's like okay, so now we know
Sally's
that.
like, she didn't mean it. She didn't mean it. And Antonia goes, yes, she did, Mom. She did mean it.
Which, like, the kid actors are great. Those two girls, they did a
God,
great job.
they killed it.
But
Great
then,
job.
but we now have like an insight into the other part of Sally's world outside of the aunts and her sister and her daughters, is that we have all the moms and the other kids and all of that drama.
Yes.
Oh, um, because they're like later when they're at home, there's a the phone starts ringing, and
Oh yeah, and she
yes,
knows.
and Sally immediately knows it's Julian and that Julian's in trouble, and
And the
so
aunts know too. The aunts know that it's Jillian.
hmm and so they answer the phone, and Jillian's on the phone. She's like, "Help me! I'm scared. Like, I need you."
She's like whispering, "Come get
hmm
me,
hmm
save me."
Yeah, and so immediately Sally's like, "Okay, I gotta go." The aunts are now taking the kids to the solstice celebrations.
They're so excited.
And they're like, they're not dancing naked in the moon. And Aunt Chat's like, of course not. The nudity is.
It's completely optional.
I just thought that was. I just love the ants. But so she goes into, and we see her at the motel. She's trying to find her. She gets into her room, and Julian's like hiding on the other side of the bed, like in the dark corner. Like obviously has been hit and been through it, and is just in rough shape. And they're getting Sally's trying to get Julian into her car, and they're almost there when Sally sees the blood moon, and it's like, I need my some sort of gem, some sort of crystal.
No, before this, Sally was at home and she saw the ring around the moon, and she was like, "Ring around the moon, that's a sign of trouble coming." And then the
Mhm.
phone rings,
Oh yeah,
and then this all happens. And then when they're going to the car, Jillian says, "Blood on the moon," and
yeah,
starts freaking out. And
yeah.
they're like almost out. They're almost away from
They're
Jimmy.
almost
So
there.
she has to go get her tiger's eye.
Is that what it is? Tiger's eye.
Tiger's eye, yeah.
Yeah, she goes, and it's like hanging in the car, like on the car mirror, and she goes and gets it, and of course Jimmy finds her in the car, and then drags her into the car, and Sally comes over to be like, "Come on, Jillian, let's go. We gotta go." And Jimmy has her like, not at gun, is it gunpoint or is it
Yeah.
at gunpoint? And so it's like, "Get in the car. You're driving us." And so Sally's like,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm driving you." Yeah. So they
And
start.
we found out that like for 2 weeks he's just been making Jillian drive around like aimlessly all over the country.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're driving, and he's talking like, equally being threatening, but also just like talking crazy, like
Weirdly like manic, like
yeah, very manic. And at one point he references a book and an author about how they like branded the cows and stuff, but like he like starts like heating up his ring as if he's gonna brand Jillian, but then Sally like starts swerving and stops him from doing that.
she's
But
like, "That's not even how you say the author's name."
yeah, which I really liked. I was like,
Yeah.
she like in this crazy high intense moment, she had to correct him about the author, and
Right.
but
But she uses that to like get a hold of his tequila bottle. Give me that.
yeah, yeah, and in the mirror, telepathically, Jillian's like, "In my purse, the belladonna, the stuff that makes him, gave him to go to sleep. The belladonna's in my purse." Like,
Do we think that they switched from Nightshade to Belladonna because of Charles Manson?
I don't know if it's about Charles Manson.
Okay, so the Manson family,
Yeah.
like he would make them take Belladonna. And
Oh,
the theory is that and this would have been like very shortly after
yeah.
he was all over the media. So I was like, I wonder if they switched from Nightshade, which is what the book did, to Belladonna, because that's something that
Pop culture.
people would have seen on the news.
Yeah.
Is this weird plant that people are using to like drug themselves or drug each other.
Maybe.
Anyway,
I think that's plausible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, it's not Belladonna. And then I was like, wait a second.
Also, belladonna sounds cooler than
It does.
Nightshade. But Sally is able to put the belladonna in the tequila, gives him back the tequila, and he drinks it. And then he starts singing. What song is he singing? I look it up. He's like, you'll always be in my mind.
You're always on my mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's singing the song, and then it cuts to them like off the side of the highway somewhere. He's peeing drunkenly, singing that song, You're Always on My Mind by.
Yeah. It's by the Pet Shop Boys, but apparently it was made famous by Willie Nelson.
Ah, interesting.
Right.
Because Angelov has quite the taste for American culture.
Well, he probably heard a lot of Willie Nelson out there in
Oh yeah.
Arizona.
Oh yeah. But he's drunkenly singing that, and he's peeing, and Jillian is like, he should be out by now. Like, why isn't, did he put enough?
How much did you give him?
Yeah, and Sally's like, I wasn't measuring, I was driving. Like, they're just arguing because they're stressed.
Right.
But they get back in the car, and Jimmy immediately, Jillian sees a different look in Jimmy's eye, because immediately she's like, baby, please, no. Baby, I love you. Like, I want to be with you for, like, trying
He's
to
like,
just,
I love you so much. Yeah.
just trying to, like, please him so that, she's obviously done this before. And he, like, starts to try and choke her, and so Sally gets on top of him and starts, like, hitting him and trying to get him to stop. When, like, partway through this fight, suddenly Jimmy goes limp, and, like, okay, it worked. It's fine. But then they, like, take his pulse and, like, wait, he's dead. Like, how much did you give him? So they gave him enough that he died. And so they drive all the way back home. So I don't know where they are. If this is supposedly in Massachusetts somewhere is the house. So they must have driven a long ways.
Well, I'm wondering if they don't, like, show Sally. They don't, I mean, I don't know. She must have brought her own car there because they were going to get in a different car before Jillian had to go get her tiger's eye. So she drove there, and all this happens over that night. So she couldn't have been that far away. Maybe it's the whole, like, New York, New Jersey thing.
Yeah.
Just like Massachusetts and somewhere else. So they couldn't have been far, which is probably why Jillian called her when she did. But why did they not go back and get her car?
Yeah. Or just leave him.
And they never talk about her car ever again.
Or why didn't they just leave him by that creepy old side of the highway?
James and Cooper and I had quite a discussion about this. I had to pause the movie.
Yeah.
And say, just watch it.
Like that would be the best. Like, if they just dumped the body, like, that would have been the best option.
Yeah. Well, now I feel like it would have been different if Sally's fingerprints weren't all over the car now too.
Yeah.
But if it were just, like, Jillian's fingerprints on the car, and then, like, oh yeah, he hit me and then he went out one night and disappeared.
Yeah.
But how would they explain Sally's fingerprints being in there?
That's true.
I don't know. I don't think they were thinking that deeply. I think they just panicked.
No. Yeah. But they get back to the house and they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And Jillian wants to bring him back. It's like, well, we can bring him back to life. Like, there's that spell. And
yeah, because she doesn't want to get charged for murder. She's like, he can't be dead. Bottom line, he needs to be alive.
Yeah. And so, like, he's gonna, like, it's supposedly he comes back as something dark and dangerous. So like, well, yeah, he was already dark and dangerous, so he won't change much, is, like, the idea behind it. So they do the creepy spell to bring him back, and, like, there's, like, I like the part where they had to draw, like, a star on his chest, and so they used the whipped cream because they needed it to be a white star, and that's the only thing they could find. And then Sally takes a little lick of the whipped cream.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is silly.
Relatable.
And so they do this spell. It works. Jimmy comes back to life, but immediately yells at Jillian, I want you to be my wife, and starts to, like,
and
attack
then
strangles her. And so Sally hits him a few times with a frying pan.
A cast iron skillet.
Yeah, like, over his head, and then he dies again. And then it cuts to them burying him in the backyard. They're just like, okay, we just gotta get rid of him in the yard. Yeah. And then the aunts come home, and the kids come home, and there's this big reunion because Aunt Jillian's there. And she hasn't seen the aunts in years.
They did dance naked under the full moon.
They did, and the girls are very excited.
They loved it.
And the next day, Jillian's at Sally's little apothecary shop with her, like, sitting there smoking inside, which I'm like, oh, it's the 90s, you could still smoke inside. She's
barefoot. She's never not barefoot.
And she's, like, trying on all this, like, lotion and stuff, and Sally's like, if you're gonna work, you actually, like, have to work. And she goes, I'm trying the products, but Sally has to go off to a meeting, and she's, like, very upset about it, and the other town's ladies in that shop tell Jillian it's because of the PTA day. and they have the
Phone tree day.
phone tree day, and it cuts to just like this awful PTA situation that I was like, oh my God,
It's
I'm,
very
uh,
reminiscent of Gilmore Girls and the plaid scrunchies.
uh-huh,
That's what I kept
very,
thinking of.
very much. A lot of this movie, I got a lot of Gilmore Girls vibes
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
makes sense. It's supposed to be like East Coasty,
Mm-hmm.
late 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. But Sally never gets chosen for the top of the phone tree or the phone tree in general because she is a witch and an outsider, and they want her othered. There's a
And it's
popularity
just
contest.
yeah, exactly. Big popularity contest.
And so Jillian shows up and essentially
She's in a new outfit,
hmm
quite scantily clad.
Oh yes. She gets all the negative attention away from Sally, which is like this for sure has happened a lot of the times in our life, right? Is that
I
hmm
I questioned a lot whether I was like, I see what you're trying to do, but you
hmm
come in here, being your whole self, like doing everything you know that they don't like, and going, that's my sister. And I'm like, okay, you could like, I know that they know who she is, but maybe don't point out that you're here to be
Yeah.
with your sister who is trying to just be absolutely anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like this kind of awkward situation, but Jillian magics Sally's way to the top of the phone tree. And it's like she's trying to make up for the all the horrible things that have happened in the last couple days,
Right,
you
yes.
know, in her Jillian way of doing it. Which is very sweet. But then it's cuts to like late that night. Jillian then comes and wakes up Sally at midnight and it's for listen. She goes, listen, and it cuts to the ants doing like a spell, like
A
reading off this
full-on spell.
ingredient list of like salt to the brim, add some like it's like if
And
it
it
was like
rhymes.
it rhymes and it's like you know push the like and it's like push the button and let it blend or something like that.
I think it says like watch the cauldron bubble or something.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like they're
And then
making margaritas like as an
yeah.
actual like spell, which is so fun. But Sally and Jillian are like midnight margaritas, and so they come down, and it's like the other like super
The
iconic scene.
iconic, yeah.
Yeah, where they're all just drinking margaritas and
With the
dancing around the
lime and the
kitchen.
coconut.
hmm And it's just like so cute and so like there's the sisterhood, there's the magic aspect. It's just so fun. I
It's
love that.
very like it's very reunion-y and like
hmm
accepting each other-ish and
It's like it's a
things are like
ritual. Yeah.
yeah, things are
Yeah.
good and happy.
And they're sitting at the
Uh,
table later and
doing shots
doing
on
shots.
shots on shots.
And Sally's like reading poems and they're like joking and teasing each other. And apparently the actresses were actually drunk during this scene.
That's awesome.
They were actually drinking some really bad tequila that Nicole Kidman brought them for the scene. So they were actually drunk during this scene.
That
But
would be so fun.
right?
That group of ladies, oh my gosh,
Yes.
let me at it.
Right? But suddenly the ants start singing all what are the lyrics again?
Oh,
I've always had you on my mind. Right?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I've always had you on my mind. Like they start singing
yeah.
that song, and Sally and Jillian are like, "What? What the hell?"
And then
yeah,
they realize that the bottle of tequila is the same brand that Jimmy drinks,
yeah,
and they're like, "What the fuck?
they're haunted." And so
What is going on?"
so they go and they smash the tequila bottle in
Well,
the sink.
they're like, "Where did you get this? Where did you get this
Yeah.
tequila?" And they go, "It showed up on the doorstep." And it's like, first of all, who just drinks doorstep tequila? Everybody in town hates you.
These
What
ants,
is like?
they
whoa,
fear
man.
nothing.
That's true, but they
Yeah.
also probably have like spells to make sure things are not like
Yeah,
poisoned and
dispel
whatnot.
magic or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they destroy. Whenever there's broken glass, they always keep putting it in the sink in this movie. Did you notice that?
I noticed that. I'm like, what are you doing? Putting it down the garbage disposal? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't. The poor plumbing of this house is what I kept thinking to myself. It's like, put it in the trash, put it in a bag, put it in the trash, put it in a bag, and then put it in the trash. Like,
bury it in the yard. I don't know, something else.
But the ants realize that something is like that the girls lied to them, that something has gone wrong. And so the aunts in the middle of the night decide that they're gonna leave to let everyone else figure out their shit. And so
Yeah, they're
they
basically like, if you're not gonna tell, they ask them, they're like, what is going on? And the girls are
Mhm.
like, nothing. And they're like, if you're not gonna tell us, we're just gonna protect your kids and get out of
Yeah,
here.
exactly. Yeah. So they like leave some stuff to protect the girls, the kids, and they leave without telling Jillian and Sally.
They take pieces of
Oh
the
yeah.
200-year-old noose that used
Mm-hmm.
to be around Maria Owen's neck that they have hidden in this very cool secret compartment in their stairs and
Mm-hmm.
wrap it around the girl's neck and tell them, hey, wear this ugly, scratchy piece of string that's probably partially disintegrating
Mm-hmm. Well,
and
it's
tell,
magic.
I know, and tell your aunts this message from us. And then
Yeah.
they just take off, which aren't they at the aunt's house right now?
Mm-hmm.
So where do they go?
I don't know, some sister
I mean,
covens.
they've referenced the coven
They
plenty of
just
times,
they
but
just
also
were
like,
networking at the solstice.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
They
They
had
have
a
plenty of, they could
yeah,
make some rounds.
yeah.
They're like, man, this is such a mess. We're just gonna give you the house.
The next morning, the girls tell the message that they have to clean up their own mess,
They
and
said to tell you, clean
yeah,
up your own mess.
and
And the aunts are clear, or the aunts, Sally and Jillian are hung over.
hmm and so Sally's like, please go get these herbs for me before you go to school, and Kylie's like, not when that man's out there, and
Yep.
they're like what? Like yeah, there's
Dun
a
dun
man, and
dun.
there's a man in the roses that also were not there the other day.
Yeah. She's like, they weren't there yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. So Kylie is seeing Jimmy's ghost. Creepy.
And this is like one of the closest moments we have to book Kylie,
Mm-hmm.
is this.
Mm-hmm.
And all it takes is Jillian hearing one time that Jimmy's fucking with her nieces,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Oh no, mm-mm."
Yep. So I do find it a little bit interesting that they chose roses instead of lilacs, because we did find out in the last podcast that lilacs were used or slash are used to ward off evil spirits and with death and that whole like realm of things. But the roses come, so like there's no roses before they plant Jimmy. Roses come out of Jimmy, or above him. But I thought
We're
it was
okay. I was confused. Was
Mhm.
there a rose bush there that was just like not doing great, or just there was no plants, and then all of a sudden
I'm
here
pretty sure
come these roses?
I'm pretty sure they planted him in the area where there's no like near plants, but not like actually under bushes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, it's roses, not lilacs, but
But like
whatever.
if you think about it, like roses are an obvious choice because roses are symbolic of love, right?
Right.
But roses have thorns.
Yes. But
And
she
so
also Sally used rose petals to cast the spell about her husband too. So I was thinking maybe it
Mhm.
was a little bit of a callback to that, even though it's a different part of the story.
Yeah. But I just thought it was interesting because roses are equal love, thorns, and then Sally goes right away. Immediately, her first instinct is to start cutting down the rose bush.
This is where everything sort of speeds up compared
Yeah.
to the book.
Yes. So she's immediately cutting down the thorns, and Gary shows up, this detective, out of nowhere.
Yeah. And we don't get any preview to Gary like we do in the
Mm-mm.
book either. He just
Yeah.
shows up.
He's way more mysterious this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
He shows up.
And he says, "Go get your sister for me." She
Yeah.
says,
He's like,
"How do you know I have a sister?"
So creepy. Like,
Yeah,
how does he
right?
know? Do we know that he has the letter yet?
Not yet. Not until she confronts him at the hotel room,
Dang. Dang.
which is like one scene later. But yeah, that's why I was like, well, I know how he knows.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. But we find out, so they invite Gary inside. They have the similar freak out like they do in the book where Sally's like, I
Mhm.
can't lie to this man. I don't know why I can't lie to him. And Jillian's like, well, here's what we'll tell him. And just follow me. And she does her
But
whole
she
like,
actually tells her.
She
She's like,
does?
this is what we're
Yeah.
gonna say.
barely. But like,
Right, right.
but like that scene is very similar, minus the Gary crying about his coffee. Like,
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they took that out. I don't think that would go over well in a feature film in 1998. But
true. But yeah, so they're like Gary's like asking them questions about Jimmy, but we find out that Jimmy had killed a lady years ago, in a similar fashion, like off in the middle of nowhere, off the side of the road, and branded her with the ring. So like essentially Jimmy was about to do that to both Jillian
Mhm.
and Sally. So we find out that little, you know, information about him.
And I really like that they made the crime similar to what Jillian was experiencing. It's not just like
Hmm.
he's not just a random drug dealer, because I feel like it's harder to say like, oh, like if Jimmy had gone to court in the book for dealing drugs, he could be
Hmm.
like, I didn't make the drugs. I didn't know they were going to kill anybody. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was like a kind of
Like
a gap
he's
for
a
me.
bad guy. He's a
Yeah.
murderer.
Yeah.
Like it's
Um,
way more, it's less in the gray about, if he's bad or
y-
not. But yeah, so Jimmy is like 100% bad dude. Like there's
yes.
no gray area, which
Yeah.
is good because they killed him
Yeah.
twice.
Yes, I
You
agree.
know. But they're
They're
uh
standing there and he's about to leave, right? Wait.
yeah,
Never
like
mind. Nope, not yet. Nope.
no, not yet.
Not the scene I'm thinking of. Not yet.
No. There's like a bunch of like scenes back to back where he's like going around town and essentially interviewing the people about them, and you get people being like they're a witch, or like I'm not surprised he ends up in a ditch, someone said, like, and the literally it's like not,
Okay, yes.
yeah, not
That
like
was
the
the chicken
murder.
pox. That was the
Yeah.
chicken pox lady, the chicken pox boy's mom, and the
Yeah.
boy has chicken pox, and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, how long have you had this, and why are you in public, sir? And
Yeah.
also,
And then
the
another
mom's like, yeah,
lady,
she
yeah.
probably killed him, and then the other lady's like, not in a like they murdered him way, but
Yeah.
just like they probably shook his hand, and then he died.
Yeah, like that. And it talks about how like they like sell placenta and that's why the ants are so
Yeah.
like don't age. Like all this like, just nonsense from the townspeople. But
And
then
where
he,
are they getting the placentas? Are you giving them your placentas?
right? Yeah. That's an intense harvesting situation.
Right. And then
Um,
he goes and talks to the cute kinky hair lady in the
mhm.
shop. Oh, this was a great scene.
I just I just
Witch?
love
Yes. Murderer? No.
I just love like also the looks like as he's interviewing people, he's like these people are bonkers, but also he'll look over at Sally and he'll be like I'm in love, and then he'll be like
Yeah.
bonkers, I'm in love, back and forth
Like
essentially.
every single person here thinks that these people are actual witches and they have
Hmm.
this crazy greenhouse. And like
Hmm.
I found, is this before he has taken the car at this point and like swept something off of the driver's
Yeah.
seat that we know is the belladonna. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, like is this guy gonna go for the witch story? Who knows?
Yeah. But Jillian and or Sally invites him over for pancakes the next day to like fully interview and get all the questions. And this is when Jillian gets the girls to help her with some magic and to make this guy go away.
Yeah, she's like
Yeah.
tries to make a banishing spell in the
Hmm.
syrup.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And having the
And then
girls help. And it's like so cute that like they're
yeah,
like, Antonia, you have to be on watch. And
Antonia, you have to convince him to stay for breakfast. Like
yeah. Yeah.
it's really cute.
She took her job very seriously.
She did.
Hmm.
She did a great job, as
Hmm.
Antonia in the book would have done.
True. True.
She would have done that. Yep.
So he comes over for breakfast. There's before is the
While
greenhouse
they're
scene?
while they're making the spell,
Yeah.
they find the mom's journal with her list of like
Yeah.
requirements. And
Yeah.
Jillian is like, "Oh, your mom made this list to try and
Hmm.
make it so she never fell in love." And they were like, is this about dad?" And she's like, "Yep, it definitely is." And she goes,
Hmm.
"But my dad had brown eyes." And
Yeah.
it's like, whoa, okay, Kylie, good
Yeah.
job.
And then I think at this point it's when Gary's talking to Sally in the greenhouse
Yeah.
and he sees the belladonna and she's like, people put that in their tea for when they're nervous. Like it's like a thing.
Yeah, it's
And
anxiety.
and then he's like, okay, people are saying that you're like into witchcraft and you worship the devil. And she goes, oh, there's no devil worshiping in the craft. And he's like,
Yeah. She's
what?
like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
guess you got me."
And he's like, well, what do you do? She goes, I make soaps and lotions out of my herbs. And the
Yeah.
ants meddle in people's love lives, which is like the truth of what they do with their witchy
Right.
magic. Like it's,
She is like admitting about being a witch, but in a very sarcastic way.
hmm.
And then she says like, "Oh yeah, I killed him twice."
Hmm. Yeah.
And he's kind of like, "What's going on?" It's a good scene. I like it.
Yeah, but then the pancakes get ready and they have this cute little picnic out in the yard. But the girls, what they're making the pancakes. they're making the pancakes, and he like goes to the girls like, "Have you ever seen a saguaro cactus before?"
Cactus.
And which I'm like, it's such a dumb like it is. It fits the
I was
character.
like, wait, they haven't found the ring yet. Like, what?
Yeah,
Like, why is
exactly.
he bringing the cactus in now?
Yeah, and then he goes to flip the pancake, and it's just like slow mo, like flipping the pancake, and it's a cactus pancake,
Yeah,
which is like showing the girls what a cactus looks like. I'm like,
right,
lame. I mean, but also easy to make a pancake that looks like that, so I get it, you know.
right.
But then that's when Kylie is like, he can flip a pancake. That's one of the things on the list.
Yeah.
And so before Jillian's able to get him to give the syrup, the girls grab the syrup, and go and run.
Well, they see his sheriff badge and they're like, look, it's a star, it's a star.
Hmm.
And then they're like, no, no, don't have the syrup, don't eat that.
And they just like run and keep running to the ocean, and Jillian's chasing them, and then like Gary and Sally follow, watching and laughing. But like I just thought it was such a, like the girls like run and they throw it into the ocean, and they're like, yay! Like it's such like a cute like little kid like triumph moment. I really like that little cute little
It
bit.
was really cute. Yeah.
But then a frog shows up,
The first one.
and the frog burps out a ring that
Whoa.
obviously is Jimmy's ring. And
Yikes,
Jillian tries to pull it off, like, oh, I've been looking for that. This is a party trick that this random toad does. It's like what she tries to like.
Yeah, it's
lie.
like, oh, yeah.
Like not
Auntie
quite.
Dubs, this is obviously our pet frog.
Yeah, and but Gary's like, you guys need a lawyer, and like you guys are.
He gets mad.
Yeah, and he like
which,
just
like, fair.
yeah, and he storms away.
He's like, I'm staying at this motel.
Yeah.
If you need to tell me anything before I leave, you come down there and tell me.
Yeah. And Sally immediately is like, I'm gonna go tell him everything. Like, I gotta. And so she goes to the motel. Like, she goes to tell him the truth. He starts recording for, his investigation. And he asks, where is
She sees the letter. She sees the letter and she's like, oh, why do you have this? He's like, acceptance.
Yeah. And he's like, do you know where Jimmy's body is? And she goes, I think in the spirit world is her answer, which is like the truth, but also not what he needs for the investigation.
Yeah. No, he just says, do you know where Jimmy is? And she's like, he's in the spirit world.
Yeah. And I just thought, I was like, every time she's telling the truth, it's in a way that like is not useful to him.
Right. Yeah.
But it is the truth.
And he believes her. He doesn't think she would lie.
Yeah. Yeah. But they stop recording and they have like a tense moment, and then they like start making out, and then she's like, no, I can't. But then she starts making out with him again, and it's like, no, I can't. And then leaves.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Yeah, and but then she hears, as she's leaving, she hears Kylie telepathically saying, Mommy, hurry, help.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like starts running, and then Gary follows her because he sees one, they just kiss, and two, the panic. And she gets there, the girls are crying, running down the stairs, and she gets up to like the attic-y area, and she sees Jillian, but it's Jillian who's obviously being like exorcist style, like taken over, like backbent, like. So they go in there, and she goes to try and help like Jillian, but then the spirit of Jimmy comes out and starts talking to Gary.
He's like, oh, hey, long time no see.
Yeah, like, I know you've been looking for me. And like it starts to like attack him, like puts his hand in his chest to like kill him, like a ghostly kill him. But then starts screaming in pain, the ghost does, because he had grabbed onto the star of the guy's badge, which has been like killing him. And I'm like
and he has like the star imprint on his hand.
Yeah. And I'm like, I mean, I understand the power of the star with the witches stuff, but this is like this is like a Western cowboy sheriff star with like the little dot at the edges of it. And I was just like,
And then he like holds it up like a crucifix.
Yeah.
And banishes the spirit.
Yeah, and the spirit is banished, for at least we think he is. And Gary fully thinks that he saved the day.
And even Sally's like, yeah, you killed the spirit, but I killed the person.
Yeah, exactly. And they have a really intense moment outside talking. They're like, well, like, either we can fall in love, like we can follow our emotions right now, and either we can guess it's because of the spell or
Yeah.
because BT dubs, I put a spell when I was little and you fit the bill.
Yeah, that's why
Or
you're here.
mhm. Or you might think it's because I want to be with you so that you don't like I don't get in trouble for the
Yeah.
murder of Jimmy. Like
Yeah.
we'll never
I'll
find
never
out.
know if you're
Yeah.
only here because of the spell, and you'll never know
Hmm.
if I'm only keeping you here to cover up this murder.
Hmm. And
And he's like, that's not justice. I need real justice.
ugh, gross. I bet. Okay, I bet Gary thinks a lot about the Roman Empire.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Gary thinks that what happened to Julius Caesar was absolutely wrong.
Hmm. Yep, that's the Gary-ness of it. But anyways, they split ways, and Sally goes back in, and Jillian's sitting there on the couch, but Jimmy is talking through Sally again.
Yeah, she comes up and like
Or
hugs
through
her
Jillian.
and then whispers
Oh
in
yeah, and like licks
Jimmy's voice.
in
Yeah,
Jimmy's face, and
fucking
like
gross.
and like so it's like Nicole Kidman's like licking Sandra Bullock's face and being like something like some weird like cowboy pun, like I want to like up
Yeah.
for a ride or something. It's
Yeah,
like I'm
something
like,
weird.
can you?
And
I'm like,
then
ugh. I was just
yeah.
like imagining like them filming that scene.
Yeah.
Would be wild. But yeah, so
Sally finds the courage to throw her sister against the bookshelf, and
oh
the bookshelf
yeah,
falls on her,
yeah,
and Kylie and Antonia like come down and see the ant under all the books.
yeah, and then the ants get home from their trip,
Yeah,
and they're
they're
like,
like, "Oh,
our
we're
timing
too
was
late.
off.
Our intuition's getting a little rusty."
And so the Sally essentially catches the ants up on what everything has happened.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Okay, I need your help now."
Mm-hmm.
And then the ants are like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do, but it's way better if
Oh
we have
yeah,
more people. Like, don't you have any friends?"
like we need a coven. We had nine witches. 12 would be better. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it cuts to her with like a silly little song in the background, like
Yeah.
with a phone tree, and be like, "Hi, this is
Like,
Sally. You know
everything
everyone
you ever heard about me,
it's
it's
true.
true.
I'm a witch." And then it like cuts to all the like the phone tree going off from lady to lady with like the different versions of the story. Essentially,
Yeah,
like
it becomes like, oh, she has this terrible ex-boyfriend that used to hit her and he won't leave her alone.
yeah,
She needs our help. And they're
yeah,
like, okay,
and
ladies,
bring your
let's rally.
brooms.
Yeah, bring your broom.
Yeah, and so then we have all these ladies showing up for the first time at the Owens house, and like the aunts are like doing stuff in a cauldron. Ladies are doing prepping stuff, and they all bring in the brooms, and then one lady brings in a like little handheld
A
vacuum
dustbuster.
dustbuster, and be like, "Will this work?" And they're like,
It was
"Yeah." It's
Yeah,
like,
and they do like, it's interesting because you're like, why the hell would these people help her? But it's like
mm,
the two girls from her shop, so you're like not surprised by that. But then
mm,
it's like, oh well, it almost seems like one or two of them are also a little bit witchy themselves, and they just didn't
mm-hmm,
want anybody to know that because they saw how they treated the Owen sisters,
mm-hmm,
which also isn't surprising for the area they're supposed to live in. But
yeah,
then the one really terrible neighbor,
yeah,
or she's
yeah,
like, I've always wanted to see the inside of your house. And it's
yeah,
like, okay, welcome, I guess.
yeah. Be nosy, but also help us.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then they make a big circle around Jillian, who's on the floor with their brooms, and they start chanting a spell, and they're holding the brooms, and it's like all the people are into it, and like it starts to work, but Jillian is in like obvious pain.
Yeah.
Like it's
Does
barely
not look great.
working. And Sally is so scared that they're going to actually hurt Jillian that she makes them stop. And for Jillian's sake, she ends up like getting something that'll help bring out Jimmy. So she gets the tequila and the lime. And
Yeah.
like
Well,
it's
Jillian is like, he only
yeah.
wants me, just let me go. He'll leave everybody else alone if he just
Yeah.
takes me. And Sally's like, no, we're supposed to die old
Yeah.
and alone together.
Yeah.
We made the pact.
It's such a sweet moment.
Yeah.
And
Because
it's
that's
like,
the pact they
ugh.
made when Jillian ran away the first time with the guy. And
Mhm.
she's like, wait, I have an idea.
And so Sally brings out the tequila to get Jimmy out, and they start doing the ritual again, and Jimmy does appear again.
They slice their hands.
Mm-hmm. They slice the hands of both Jillian and Sally, and they do the my blood, your blood, my blood, our blood, Maria's blood when the aunt shouts.
Yeah.
And they're able to finally dispel Jimmy's spirit, and Jillian's safely free, and like
and Jimmy turns into this big wild dust cloud.
Yeah, and they're like, and then as it settles, they're like, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and they're like, all right, ladies, let's clean house.
Grab your brooms.
And so they're all sweeping, and I was like, this is a wild reasoning for witches to have brooms, but like, I guess.
Like, go through the kitchen.
Yeah. And they all help clean it out, and they're all, Jillian's safe, and all the ladies are safe, and a Stevie Nicks song starts playing at this point. And I was like, Stevie Nicks, of course, Stevie Nicks.
And then they have Jillian and Sally grab the big heavy pot of lye potion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the lye potion, they pour it over where they had buried Jimmy, and they finally like fully dispel him.
They swept all the ashes out there too.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. And it's a very like, they make a big deal of like showing them looking at each other over this cauldron that they're carrying together, and all I could think about how this is supposed to be Antonia and Kylie coming together.
Yeah,
at this moment.
But it's just the sisters.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like for the movie, it would have to be so much longer to put in all the Antonia and Kylie stuff. But
absolutely, yeah. And then the next day or so, or like it's days later.
It feels like a while. Yeah,
it's days later. They get a letter from Arizona, and it has the ring in it, which they happen to be burning the rose bushes while they're reading this letter, so she throws the ring in it to burn it as well. But it's a letter saying that they found, like similar to the book, that essentially Gary found a way to cover up the truth of Jimmy's murder.
I liked this better because it just says that he died in a structure fire.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, it says that he was so burned that they couldn't even find the body, but they found his ring in there, so they know. So it's like, okay, there's not some random body that's been integrated to clear everybody's names.
Yeah,
I appreciated that.
Yeah,
I wonder if he set the structure on fire, or if there just was a fire and he kind of flung the ring in there.
Yeah, is he an arsonist or just observant?
I feel like he probably just took an opportune moment.
Yeah.
But that also solves the problem of like, if we were to get together, would it be the spell or would it be the Jimmy thing? And like, still could be the spell.
Yeah.
But doesn't seem like they care.
Yeah. And Gary shows up, and essentially they like, I think they just go and kiss each other right away. I'm pretty sure is what happens. No talking at this point. And so they're together.
0 to 100.
Yep. And then they have the voiceover. Is the voiceover here or is it after the Halloween? I think it's
all going on at the same time. Like,
so it cuts to the future where it's Halloween, and they're all in their black witch dresses and hats, like very stereotypical. It's very
classic, like the high heels and the striped tights and the pointy hat. Yeah,
and the umbrella. And they go up onto the roof of the house, and they jump off the house, and they all land in a puff of smoke like Maria did.
Yeah,
like it's their thing. But like Gary is like obviously like very friendly with the kids, so he's like obviously like their new like stepdad figure.
Yeah,
and they had the voiceover of the classic like, I don't know most things, but I know these things for certain. You know, plant lavender in the front, like that classic line. Yes. It's just it's such a good ending.
Yeah, and I also like that like they keep talking about how one of the first things that Gary hears about them around town is that they jump off their roof at Halloween and fly. And I'm like, okay, this is a very, like, if they do this, everybody knows about this, but why are they saying it like it's a weird rumor thing?
Yeah.
And so it was cute that they jumped off and they just like softly landed on the ground. So it's like, okay, it's embellished, but maybe they have done this before, and maybe they just are taking this rumor and being like, sure, we'll play into your idea of us a little bit.
Yeah.
It was cute.
I think it's a great little ending, a little happily ever after ending for Sally. Maybe not for all of them, but for Sally.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I don't know. I think overall, I loved the movie.
Yes.
Like there's a few little plot holy things, I guess, but not
Fine.
bad. Um,
There are some real cheesy spots,
oh
like
yeah.
him banishing Jimmy with
Oh
the
yeah.
sheriff's star. It's like, okay. But, you know, it helps bring him in as like the
hmm
man.
hmm Do you want some of my little fun facts?
Yes, I do.
So I did talk about how the house was built specifically for the movie. It was just a
Mhm.
shell, but all the trees in the yard were made of silk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like all the plants
Oh,
in that yard, silk, which I'm like, that's
that
expensive.
is expensive. And also, like, it's not like those are far away shots of trees. Like,
I
they did a
know,
great job.
right? It's filmed in it was filmed on the Whidbey Island in Washington State, and the town is Coopville, Washington.
Yeah.
The Death Watch beetle is a real beetle. I did not know this. I thought
Does
it
it
was something
make
made up.
that sound?
It makes a similar sound. The sound
Okay.
they how they recorded it is they had like one enclosed is how they recorded
Okay.
it. But it's a very famous beetle, and it is known for like superstition stuff as like if you hear this, there is a death impending. Like,
Okay.
and that's because it eats wood.
Oh,
So
okay.
it
Right.
like if it got
Yeah.
loud enough, you probably are gonna have a house break, and then
Right.
someone might die because old, hundreds of years
Yeah.
ago. But it's a very famous beetle. It was even in a John Keats poem. So
Oh, okay.
very,
I
yeah.
I imagined it from the book as like a TikTok sound, like tick
Hmm.
tock, tick tock. But I liked that in the movie it was kind of a more realistic, like very distinct
Yeah.
sound.
There is a bug outside, like some bug in the last month that sounds like a car alarm.
Oh,
And it's always going
oh,
off whenever I'm going out to take the dog out, and it pisses me off so much. And it'll be gone within like another 2 weeks. But I'm just like, I needed to drop a little bit colder so this one bug can stop making me mad. But it's not the
that's
Death
funny.
Watch beetle. I looked it up,
No,
different sound.
nope, nope.
I already talked about the change in name for Jimmy. Jimmy. Yeah, that was all my fun. My last fun fact. After this movie premiered, this movie was a box office flop. It also got really bad reviews from critics at the time, so that's why it's more of a cult classic. It was not a hit when it came out, but there was a really big fan of this movie. Cher. Cher loved this movie. Cher wanted
That
to. Mhm.
feels right.
Right? Cher wanted to buy the house. She called production and was like, "Where's this house? Where can I buy this house? I want to buy the land and the house." And they had to break it to her that one, you can't buy the land, it's Native American land protected. And two, the house was already taken apart because it was a set piece.
Yikes.
But like Cher like
Brutal.
was such a fan of the movie that she wanted the house.
That makes sense to me.
Right?
That's funny.
I thought that was fun.
Oh,
But so the question of the podcast is this a good adaptation? And then the second question to that is what is a good adaptation? And it changes for every book and movie I've done so far. So uh
um, I think for being, because the book was 95, right? And this was
hmm
98. I
hmm
think for being so fast after the book, it was a pretty good adaptation.
hmm
Do I think it could be, do I think it could be different and just
hmm
as good? Yes. I would have liked to have seen it be a little bit more mysterious on the like, is this magic, is this not front?
hmm
I think that's my biggest thing.
hmm
But I also think it would have had to be a lot longer. There would have had to be a lot more like development of those instances of like, oh,
hmm
is it not? I don't
hmm
know. Um, and I missed the plotline of Kylie and Antonia. But
hmm
also, if you're gonna cut out something and get the most bang for your buck for like without losing the story, but cutting out time, that is a good thing to cut out, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. No, I agree. I forgot there's one more fun fact that changed. So apparently the director, the first cut of this was way darker and way scarier, and then in general this movie was supposed to be way darker. But
Okay.
after the first cut edit through, Warner Brothers was like, no, we needed this. So that's why as the movie goes on, it gets darker
Okay.
because they wanted it to be still lighter.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay. I
yeah,
think I would enjoy something dark and spooky, but
yeah,
I didn't feel like the book was dark
mm-mm,
except for those few moments that we talked about.
yeah,
And So I don't think that that would have been like the best version. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I so I think this is a good adaptation in the way of like taking the source material and then adding to it and changing
Mm-hmm.
it. I think classically people tend to want a very like one for one adaptation. Um
Mm-hmm.
I I'm not like that. I like the weird other versions. Uh so for me, I think it's a good adaptation, but I think I might like the movie more than I liked the book because they're different enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do wish the book had more magic and the movie does, obviously. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what gets me is that the movie has those vibes. I do miss I agree, the Kylie and Antonia stuff. Like there is just more
Mm-hmm.
stuff that happens in the book, but that's books in general. It's easier
You
to
know what I
have more stuff
don't
happen.
miss?
Hmm.
I don't miss the drugstore lady.
Yeah.
Which I kind of thought that I might, but I don't. I mean, you can easily get across why the girls feel the way they do
Hmm.
about love without having those. I think you need to show somebody coming to the ants and getting help,
Hmm.
um, which is good. And you could even do like a short little montage of like different ladies sneaking in and sneaking out.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't miss the drugstore girl not being in
Yeah.
it.
I agree. I think the like tragic side stories that we kept getting throughout the book, it was kind of out of place. Like it went with
Hmm.
the writing style, but like it was like storyline wise, it was a little bit out of place.
Hmm.
I am interested. I do know that the rest of the books have way more magic in them. Um, so I'm interested that eventually when I do read those books, I wonder like how they feed into it. In general, I think I would. I mean, as always, I do believe that you should read the book first, but I think I like the movie better.
Really.
Yeah.
I loved the book so much. That's not to say that I don't like the
Yeah.
movie. The
Yeah. Yeah.
movie is great, but I think if I had like if you had to say pick one of these, you don't get the other one ever again, I would keep the book.
That'd be hard. I think I might pick the movie. But also, can we talk about how genetic coded this movie is?
Oh yeah, it's excellent. It's
Like,
excellent.
good thing I did not see this in high school. I would have made it my whole personality.
I mean, it almost was, but without you knowing.
Yeah. So, but I did like the book a lot. I think I like the movie just a smidgen more.
Fair
But I
enough.
do want to read the rest of the series, I
I
think.
also do. No, it was great, and it's very like just Sandra Bullock in this era,
So good.
just primo. Like
Yes.
love it
Yeah.
so much. We should have made margaritas while we talk about this.
I thought about
Um,
it, but one, I don't like tequila because of that one Halloween.
yep, yep.
I've never been able to
That
do tequila
that one
since.
Halloween.
Hmm.
It took me a long time to get back on the tequila train, and it's got to be very well mixed.
But I did think about making a Moscow Mule. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Read the Book First Podcast. The schedule is coming up. I have plans for the rest of this quote season of the podcast. Rate and subscribe, all those things. And thank you for
Like,
listening.
share,
Like, share, all those things. And remember, read the
read the
book
book first.
first.